There is no path to greatness that begins with imitation. Somewhere, right now, someone is scrolling through a screen, watching someone else's highlight reel, and feeling like they're falling behind. They're measuring their worth against someone else's stage. They're mistaking applause for meaning. And in doing so, they're forgetting this unshakable truth. You were never born to be a copy. You were born to be a force. Comparison is the silent thief of joy. But more than that, it is the assassin of purpose. It does not come with noise. It does not knock on the door like fear or scream like failure. No. Comparison creeps in quietly. It masquerades as motivation, but leaves you with doubt. It tells you, you should be further by now, without ever asking where you were meant to go. We live in a world that sells perfection and packages progress in pixels. But real growth, real greatness, it happens in silence, in shadows, in solitude. Not in the spotlight, not under a million likes or the gaze of strangers. It happens when no one is watching, when you choose to rise instead of scroll, when you choose to build instead of envy, when you choose to write your own story instead of watching everyone else live theirs. Ask yourself, who would you be if the world never told you who to compare yourself to? Because the truth is, success was never supposed to look like anyone else's version. There is no universal timeline, no global scoreboard, no finish line marked, finally enough. That's the myth. That's the trap. And it's cost more dreams than failure ever has. Let me remind you of something the world has tried to make you forget. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing out. You are in motion. You are evolving. You are on your path. And your path is sacred because it's yours. Let the story of the greats remind you of this. Edison didn't invent the light bulb by comparing himself to Tesla. Ford didn't build the future of transportation by worrying how fast the others were going. Carnegie didn't become the steel king by scrolling through the lives of other tycoons. They built, they created, they envisioned, and then executed. They didn't compete. They focused. They didn't chase the crowd. They outran their own limitations. You have no obligation to mimic what you see. Your only obligation is to the voice inside of you that keeps whispering, there is more. You are more. And yet, here's what comparison does. It silences that voice. It rewrites your inner script. It convinces you that someone else's calling is more valid than your own. It makes you chase goals you don't believe in, live lives you don't love, and pursue success you were never meant to admire. Understand this. There is a difference between inspiration and imitation. Inspiration is fuel. Imitation is chains. Inspiration makes you ask, how can I grow? Imitation makes you ask, why am I not them? And the moment you ask that second question, you've already stepped off your path. The greatest minds in history knew this. They knew that self-mastery begins where comparison ends. That no man ever found his purpose by following someone else's blueprint. Lincoln didn't rise from log cabin to legacy by wishing he was more like his rivals. He rose by listening to his convictions, not the crowd. Conviction is your compass, not the noise, not the charts, not the trends. This world is louder than it's ever been. Everyone's shouting for your attention, for your belief, for your doubt. But in all the chaos, in all the noise, your mission is not to find the loudest voice. It's to find your truest one. The voice that says, it's okay if no one sees it yet. Build anyway. The voice that says, it's okay if they're further ahead. You're not running their race. The voice that says, it's okay if they doubt you. Don't join them. Your voice, the one that's been buried under expectations and algorithms, dig it out. Dust it off. Listen to it like your life depends on it, because it does. You see, we forget something vital. You can't compare paths when the destinations were never the same. You may be climbing a mountain while someone else is walking a hill. You may be building a cathedral while someone else is building a cottage. You may be called to carry weight others will never understand. And that's not something to be ashamed of. That's something to be proud of. Celebrate your own mountains. Celebrate your own bricks. Celebrate the pace, the pain, the pauses, because they're yours. No one else can walk your journey. They can walk beside you, yes, but they cannot define it, they cannot rush it, and they cannot live it. So the next time you're tempted to compare, ask yourself this: are you chasing their life because it's right or because it's visible? Because visibility is not validation. And applause is not alignment. You don't need a viral moment to prove your worth. You need vision. You don't need 10 million followers. You need one inner fire that refuses to go out. What matters isn't how many people are watching. What matters is how committed you are when no one is. Because that's when identity is forged, in the quiet, in the invisible, in the days you want to quit, but don't. Let them count likes. You count your disciplines. Let them chase popularity. You chase purpose. Because when you finally arrive, when you stand at the top of the mountain that you alone were born to climb, it won't be the crowd that made you. It will be every moment you didn't compare, every time you chose self-respect over self-doubt, every decision to stay loyal to the unseen vision in your heart. There's a kind of power that's built in silence, a strength that doesn't shout, it doesn't post, it doesn't beg to be seen. It simply becomes undeniable. That's the power of self-trust. It's what separates those who live with conviction from those who die with regret. So many die full of potential, not because they lack talent, but because they wasted it trying to be someone else. They waited for permission. They waited to feel ready. They waited to be validated before they believed in themselves. And in that waiting, the clock kept ticking. But here's the truth, and you may not like it. No one is coming to crown you. There is no moment where someone taps you on the shoulder and says, "You've arrived." That moment is built. That moment is claimed. That moment is earned by the people who stop looking sideways and start moving forward. Your job is not to keep up with others. Your job is to keep going in the direction that makes your soul come alive. Do you think Walt Disney built a global empire because he stayed inside the lines? He was fired for lacking imagination. They laughed at his vision. They called his dreams unrealistic, childish, delusional. And still, he persisted, not because the world believed in him, but because he did. That's the secret no one wants to talk about. It's not about being the best. It's about being unshakably faithful to your unique vision, to your strange, wild, unproven dream that no one else can quite understand. They're not supposed to. It wasn't given to them. It was given to you. And that's why comparison is a distraction. It pulls your eyes off your assignment and glues them to someone else's reward. But you don't grow by watching others win. You grow by showing up for your own life every single day, even when it's slow. Even when it's quiet, even when no one notices, especially then, you want to feel peace, get aligned. You want to feel power, get focused. You want to feel proud, get honest. Ask yourself, are you building a life that's true to you or one that just looks good from the outside? Because that outside life, the one that looks perfect in pictures, it means nothing if it's built on internal emptiness. It means nothing if it costs you your integrity, your joy, your truth. Don't sacrifice your real self on the altar of someone else's success. Look in the mirror and remember this: you are not their story. You are your own. And your story isn't supposed to look like anyone else's. You are not here to fit in. You are here to rise, to discover, to evolve, to burn through doubt until all that's left is fire and truth and relentless belief. This is the path of warriors, not watchers. Do not watch. Build. Build a mindset that doesn't need approval. Build a resilience that doesn't need comfort. Build a discipline that doesn't wait for motivation. Build a vision so strong that the world has no choice but to move around it. And understand the gap between where you are and where you want to be. That gap is not bridged by wishing, it's bridged by work, by consistency, by showing up one more time after most people would have stopped. That's why your journey matters. Because every step, every stumble, every scar, it's all part of the fire that's forging your greatness. But if you spend that journey staring at someone else's path, you will miss your own. You will overlook the beauty in your breakthroughs, the meaning in your mess, the gold in your grind. Comparison blinds you to your own brilliance. It makes you forget how far you've come. It tricks you into thinking you're behind, when in reality you're becoming stronger, becoming clearer, becoming who you were born to be. There is no such thing as behind when you are evolving. There is only becoming, and becoming is messy, it's slow, it's sacred. Let the others run fast, you move deep. Let them chase applause, you chase alignment. Let them measure their lives in views, you measure yours in values, because that's what will last. Not the flash, not the likes, not the noise. What lasts is character. What lasts is growth. What lasts is the person you become in the process of staying loyal to your path. There will come a day when you look back and realize the moments you thought were setbacks were actually set up, not for defeat, but for alignment, for redirection, for refinement. But you'll only see that if you stay present in your process and stop worshiping someone else's destination. Comparison turns life into a race, but greatness isn't a race, it's a revelation. And revelations aren't rushed. They unfold, they awaken, they expand. Your life isn't behind schedule, it's unfolding on purpose. Every delay is a lesson. Every detour is a teacher. Every so-called failure is a chapter that's shaping the exact strength you'll need later. But if you're busy obsessing over how polished someone else's chapter 20 looks, you'll miss the brilliance and the brutality of your own chapter 5. Your timing isn't broken. Your breakthrough is breathing, growing beneath the surface, waiting for you to stop staring at someone else's harvest and start watering your own seed. Do you think giants like Napoleon Hill or Andrew Carnegie compared their path to others? No. They obsessed over one thing, principle. They didn't study people. They studied patterns. They didn't copy success. They uncovered the laws behind it, and then they made those laws personal. They applied them in silence, in darkness, in solitude. They didn't need to go viral. They needed to go inward, because that's where the battle always is, inward. That's where comparison festers. That's where resentment takes root. That's where the mind starts to lie and whisper, you're not doing enough. You're not good enough. You'll never catch up. Lies. Every single one of them. You don't need to catch up. You need to wake up to the truth that your lane is sacred. Your pace is divine. Your growth is not supposed to look like theirs. Some rise young, some rise later, some grow fast, some grow deep. The oak and the bamboo grow in opposite ways, but both become forests. Which would you rather be? Fast and shallow, or patient and unshakable? Comparison makes you chase speed. Wisdom makes you chase substance. And when you chase substance, you build the kind of legacy that doesn't just impress, it impacts. Because here's what no one tells you. You don't inspire the world by being like the world. You inspire the world by being like you, authentically, unapologetically, relentlessly. But that takes courage. It takes courage to see someone else win and not make it mean that you're losing. It takes courage to walk a different path when everyone else is sprinting in circles. It takes courage to say, I trust where I'm headed, even if no one claps for me yet. And let me be clear, the claps don't make you worthy. The comparisons don't define your value. The followers, the fame, the fortune, none of it replaces the quiet power of someone who knows who they are. You don't need to be seen by millions to change the world. You just need to be seen by you. Every morning, in the mirror, and say, this is the path, and I will walk it whether they understand it or not, because they won't always understand. They won't always support. They won't always stay, and that's okay. This is not their mountain to climb. This is yours, and when you get to the top, when you stand there alone, breathing heavy, calloused from the climb, your only regret will be the time you wasted wishing you were someone else. So let that end today. Let this be the moment you put comparison down and pick your power back up. Let this be the day you stop chasing their life and build your own with fire. Because your life is not measured by how much it resembles someone else's. Your life is measured by how true you stayed to the vision that chose you. That's what the greats knew. That's what Hill wrote about, that the mind is a magnet, and you can't attract what's yours while craving what's theirs. Your energy must match your intention. And if your intention is to build greatness, your energy must be rooted in gratitude, not comparison. You don't manifest abundance by feeling behind. You manifest it by embodying it right here, right now, with what you have, with who you are, with exactly where you stand, because this moment, the one you're standing in right now, is not a placeholder. It's the proving ground. This moment is shaping who you're becoming. And if you meet it with envy, you delay the becoming. But if you meet it with fire, with trust, with ownership, you accelerate the arrival of everything you've been working for. So take a breath. Let go of the scoreboard. Let go of the pressure. Let go of the illusion that you're not already enough. And instead, celebrate your own damn journey. Celebrate the hard days. Celebrate the days you chose discipline over dopamine. Celebrate the nights you kept going when no one saw it. Celebrate the tears, the doubts, the silence, and the refusal to quit, because that's where the real glory lives. Not in their stage, but in your becoming. The world will hand you distractions. The world will sell you shortcuts. The world will dangle shiny things in front of your face and say, if you just look like them, sound like them, move like them, then maybe you'll matter. But listen to me carefully. You already matter, not because of what you've done or how fast you've climbed. You matter because you're becoming who you were created to be. And that process, that sacred, slow, often painful process, it cannot be compared. It cannot be duplicated. And it cannot be rushed. You don't get to bypass your own becoming by envying someone else's result. That's not how life works. That's not how transformation works. Transformation requires intimacy with discomfort, and comparison is the fastest way to escape it. It offers you the illusion movement without ever making you take a step. You sit, you scroll, you compare. And inside, a little part of your soul starts to rot, not because you're not good enough, but because you're betraying your own greatness by watching someone else live theirs. You can't grow while watching. You grow while doing, while failing, while refining, while filing on your face, and getting back up without the spotlight, without the applause, without anyone cheering. That's the price, and that's the path. No one told you the path would be easy. They told you it would be worth it, and it is, but only if it's your path. It's easy to admire the mansion without seeing the foundation. It's easy to crave the crown without carrying the cross. But the real ones, the legends, the builders, they don't ask, how do I get there faster? They ask, how do I stay true longer? Because staying true in a world of noise is the highest act of courage. Staying focused when you're surrounded by distraction is the ultimate discipline. Don't let your soul be seduced by speed. Don't trade your long-term greatness for someone else's temporary validation. Choose depth. Choose discipline, choose direction. You're not falling behind. You're learning how to walk with weight. You're not lost. You're being shaped in silence. You're not stuck. You're being seasoned. The reason your path feels heavier is because your calling is bigger. Stop envying someone else's clarity if you've been chosen to walk through complexity. Stop wishing for their simplicity. If your destiny requires strategy, fire, and fortitude, you weren't made for average. You weren't made to be a shadow in someone else's story. You were made to be legendary in your own. So what if they rise before you? So what if they're celebrated first? The longer it takes to build, the more unshakable the result. The truth is, some success comes quick and leaves just as fast. But the kind of success you're building, it's layered, it's anchored, it's made of trials, truth, and transformation. And that takes time. So let the process work on you. Let the quiet shape your character. Let the detours build your durability. Because one day you'll look back and thank the struggle. You'll bless the delays. You'll revere the seasons when no one clapped, because those were the seasons that carved your strength. And when the world finally sees you, when the light finds you, you'll be ready, not just to succeed, but to sustain success. Because you didn't shortcut your evolution. You honored it. You stayed. You listened. You fought. You built roots so deep that no storm could shake you. That's why you celebrate your own journey, because it is holy ground. Your journey is not less just because it looks different. It is not smaller just because it's slower. It is not meaningless just because it hasn't gone viral. It is yours, and that makes it irreplaceable. Let the world chase relevance. You chase revelation. Let them chase numbers. You chase meaning. Because at the end of this life, it won't be how much attention you had that matters. It'll be how much alignment you lived in, how much purpose you fulfilled, how much of yourself you refused to abandon in a world that begged you to be like everyone else. The people who change the world, they don't blend in. They don't compete. They don't compare. They stay true. They go deep. They build unapologetically. They understand that success without self is failure in disguise. that trophies without truth are trash, that applause without authenticity is empty. And they understand this too. Comparison kills calling because calling requires clarity. And you cannot be clear while you're staring at someone else's lane. You cannot hear your intuition over the noise of envy. You cannot become who you are meant to be while wishing you were someone else. So today, take your power back. Not tomorrow, not after the next scroll. Now, look yourself in the mirror and say, I don't need to be them. I need to become me. Fully, freely, completely. And then go live that every damn day. There is no liberation in imitation. Only in embodiment. Only in the fierce, relentless act of owning your identity and standing tall in the face of every voice that tries to convince you to shrink. The world doesn't need another copy. The world is starving for the real, for the people brave enough to walk in full alignment with their truth, even when it costs them followers, approval, popularity, because what they gain is freedom. And freedom is the most expensive gift on earth. Relentless act of owning your identity and standing tall in the face of every voice that tries to convince you to shrink. The world doesn't need another copy. The world is starving for the real, for the people brave enough to walk in full alignment with their truth, even when it costs them followers, approval, popularity, because what they gain is freedom. And freedom is the most expensive gift on earth. Not because it's rare, but because it demands that you die to everything you are not. It demands that you walk away from the crowd and into the wilderness of your own soul. It demands that you stop asking the world, am I doing it right? And start declaring to the world, this is who I am. That's power, not noise, not trends, not imitation. Power is knowing who you are and walking with that conviction through the fire, unshaken, and the fire will come. Oh, yes, it will. You will be tested. You will be misunderstood. You will feel the temptation to turn back, to water yourself down, to blend in with the safe and familiar. But in that moment, remember this, comfort will never grow you. Approval will never define you. Comparison will never complete you. Only truth will. And truth is not easy. It's heavy. It's raw. It's rare. But it is the only foundation that doesn't crumble when the winds of life show up. So let your life be built on truth. The truth that your worth isn't determined by metrics. The truth that your timeline is not broken. The truth that your calling doesn't need confirmation from anyone but your Creator. Because here's the brutal, beautiful reality. Some people will not get it. Some people will outpace you, outshine you, overlook you. Some people will count you out before you even start. Let them watch while you go within. Let them compare. While you become, or let them measure their life by moments. You measure yours by meaning. You do not need to compete in their race, because you are not here to win their game. You are here to write your own rules, craft your own map and blaze a trail, so unique that it can't be followed, only witnessed, and one day they will witness it. They will watch what happens when a human being stops chasing, stops comparing, and starts owning their existence. They will see what happens when you go all in on you, your faith, your path, your mission, and they won't understand how you did it. But you will, because you remember the nights you cried, wondering if it was worth it. You remember the mornings you got up anyway, the battles you fought in silence, the dreams you guarded with your life, the fire you kept alive even when the wind howled against you. That is what no one sees. That is what comparison hides. Because it shows you the finish line, but never the fight. It shows you the glow-up, but never the grief. It shows you the applause, but never the agony. And so you begin to believe a lie that their life came easy, that you're behind, that something is wrong with you. But nothing is wrong with you. You are just seeing one frame of a 1,000-frame story. Stop comparing your rough draft to someone else's highlight reel. Stop measuring your roots against someone else's fruit. Your roots matter. They are deepening, strengthening, preparing you to hold the weight of what's coming, because what's coming is yours, not borrowed, not copied, yours. It doesn't need to look like theirs because it's been tailored to your soul. So when you feel the pressure to measure up, to match their speed, to wear their success like a costume, pause and ask yourself, am I moving from truth or am I moving from fear? Because fear will make you hustle for approval. Fear will make you perform instead of be. Fear will make you addicted to attention and allergic to solitude. But truth grounds you. Truth slows you down so you can speed up in the right direction. Truth makes you magnetic, not because you're trying, but because you're real. And the world will always follow the real. Eventually, even if it takes time, so be patient. Patience is not passivity. It's power in stillness. It's the refusal to settle. It's the confidence to say, I will not become something I'm not just to be seen. You weren't created to impress. You were created to impact, and impact is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it grows slow. Sometimes it blooms in silence far away from the spotlight. But when it blooms, it changes everything. So don't rush it. Don't compare it. Don't question it. Celebrate it. Celebrate the small wins. Celebrate the days you kept going. Celebrate the work no one saw, the faith no one understood, the battles you fought behind the curtain, because that's where your crown is forged. Not on stages, not in spotlights, but in the shadows where character is born. Celebrate your journey, because one day the people who passed you by will stop and ask how you did it, and you'll smile, not with arrogance, but with gratitude. Because you'll know you didn't win by being someone else. You won by becoming fully, fiercely, and faithfully you. You were never meant to be a replica. You were meant to be a revelation, a living, breathing, walking embodiment of what happens when a soul refuses to settle, when a heart refuses to numb, when a spirit says, I will not trade my authenticity for approval, no matter the cost. That kind of power can't be bought. It can't be borrowed. It can't be fabricated in filtered photos or forced through timelines. It is earned in the silence, in the stillness, in the sacred war between who you are and who the world tries to make you be. And when you win that war, when you finally stop apologizing for your path, when you finally silence the noise and walk in your own divine rhythm, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get louder on the inside. You get unshakable in your direction. You get grounded in your purpose. You stop looking sideways and start rising vertically, straight into your power, straight into your calling, straight into the destiny that's been whispering your name from the very beginning. Because the truth is, you were never behind. You were never late. You were never less. You were just being called to rise in a way that couldn't be rushed. You were being prepared to hold something bigger than you could even imagine. And to hold that, you had to go deep. You had to shed false identities. You had to let the noise fade. You had to meet yourself raw, real, undone, and choose to believe anyway. That is the cost of greatness. Not comparison, not envy, not imitation, but belief, conviction, ownership, owning your struggle, owning your pace, owning your identity, owning your presence in this moment. Not as a background character in someone else's success story, but as the author of your own. Because no one else gets to write this. No one else gets to define your arrival. No one else gets to measure your significance. You are the pen, you are the page, you are the force. And from this moment forward, you stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for the green light. You stop waiting to be discovered, validated, or saved. You save yourself. You choose yourself. You build yourself. Because that's what the greats did. Edison rejected, laughed at, failed thousands of times. Still, he lit the world. Carnegie, born into poverty. Still, he rewrote the blueprint for wealth. Lincoln, crushed by loss and political failure. Still, he redefined what it means to lead with heart. Disney told he lacked imagination. Still, he created a world that changed childhood forever. They were not the fastest. They were not the loudest. They were not the most celebrated early on, but they were committed. They didn't compare. They created. They didn't chase trends. They chased truth. And so must you, because what you are building with every hour of effort, every ounce of faith, every second of unseen work is not ordinary. It is legacy. It is revolution. It is sacred. And it demands that you let go of anything that pulls you out of your power. So today, declare it, I release the weight of comparison. I honor the timing of my own becoming. I trust the voice within me more than the voices around me. Say it again and again until it becomes your new default, until the noise can't shake you, until their timeline doesn't tempt you, until your worth is no longer for sale. You don't need to move like them. You don't need to shine like them. You don't need to live like them. Because you're not here to repeat history. You're here to make it. So walk boldly, speak clearly, create wildly, give deeply, love fiercely, and live fully, not as someone else, not as a watered-down version of your truth, but as the whole, wild, powerful, unstoppable force you were born to be. And when you arrive at your mountaintop, whenever that may be, you will not look around with envy. You will look within with peace, because you'll know you walked your own path. You honored your own truth. You trusted your own soul. And in a world begging for imitation, you had the courage to celebrate your own journey.